Yeah, all right. Guys, level 2, transport and logistics. Right. Okay, by your foot. So where did we stop? As you said, well, yeah, we stop here. You got your books. You don't have your books. All right, all right. No, be careful, be careful. I know you are a serious guy. No, sit there. Oh, you want to sit with him? Okay, okay. By your foot, by your foot, by your foot, by your foot. So, as we were saying, Maslow was a philosopher, right? Philosopher. People that they read people's mind, right? So this man studied needs of people. He said he discovered that people have got different needs, and it's obvious, right? You as a student, you got your own needs, right? You got your needs. Myself, I've got my own needs, right? Then he tried to categorize the needs into levels. He said needs have got levels, right? The first one he classified it as the basic need, physiological needs, right? Physiological needs, which is more or less the basic needs, right? That everybody needs that. And a lot of people needs that. And he said, once that need is satisfied, that level, then you climb up to another level. And it's true. When I look at myself, or when you look around, when you are unemployed, the first thing you talk about is if I'm able to at least get food to eat, right? Place to stay, be able to clothe myself, I'm gonna be all right, right? Then when God bless you, provide those stuff for you, now you want to live another level of life that is higher than that. He said, once people are able to satisfy their basic need, which is the bottom level, or which is at the bottom level, then they aspire to graduate to the second level. They will be talking about safety. And it's true, because if you don't have money, will you be worried about safety? You will not be worried about safety. You will not be worried about somebody coming to rob you. You got nothing to be robbed. You see, now you start getting money. You say, I don't want somebody to rob me of this money. You will be thinking of, let me go and open a bank account to put my money there. A hungry man doesn't put money in the bank account. Do you understand what I mean? Then, when you are able to satisfy with that, as he said, then you can graduate to the third level, whereby you want to socialize now. You know, go to cinemas to enjoy yourself, make friends, you know, having relationship, affection, because you got money now. Right. Then he classified that one as the third level. Then the fourth level, which is esteem needs, whereby you establish yourself, you want to establish yourself a kind of a status. Right. Anything you wear will be labeled. You want to be associated. You see, you know there are certain people when they want to buy a car, for example, they go direct to the factory and say, I want this, put my name there. You can do that. What is your name? Alutu. Yeah. If tomorrow God bless you, you got money, you want to customize your car, you can go to Mercedes, right? Go to Germany. Tell them that car, make it say Alutu. Mercedes Alutu brand. They're gonna put your name there. So those type of people now, they've got backs. They want to establish a kind of status for themselves. Then he said, beyond that, after that level, read the self-actualization level. That the level means you made it in life. You don't even know what to do with money. You made it in life. For example, the people we could classify that are in that level. Now we can talk about Elon Musk. You know Elon Musk. That guy asset is about, if I'm not mistaken, if I can get it correctly, it's about 850 billion dollars. It's now close to $1 trillion. The first ever trillionaire in the world. You're gonna be the first ever trillionaire in the world. The money that guy got, I can't. If you put it in the calculator will read an error for you. Even the calculator will say, I don't understand this. The calculator will tell you, please, I don't understand this. Do you understand what I mean? So to tell you that those type of people, they occupy the top level. There's one profound thing I want to explain to you now, based on this. You see how it looks like, the structure. It's like a pyramid. Right? Forget all these things that we are writing. Look at that triangular aspect of it. It's like a pyramid. It's going up the bottom, the base is flat, then it tapers to the apex. What it tells you is that on the top is only a few people that are there, only a few individuals that are occupying that position. But at the bottom, you have everybody, a lot of people. But what does this inform you as a marketer, a business person, right? What it tells you is that at this bottom, there are a lot of people, right? And what they need is essential stuff, right? If you want to start a business and it helps you to profile what type of product or services or what type of businesses that you can introduce. If you are at the bottom, you know the people there, they don't have a lot of money, right? Whatever you're going to provide them mustn't be something that is too expensive, right? But the good news here is this. If your business is servicing or providing goods and services at people at the bottom, even if the economy is bad, your business gonna still be doing well because people need food. Do you understand what I mean? Right. If you are providing product or service at people for people, maybe perhaps at the fourth rank or second rank, if the business is if the economy is not in good shape, they cannot afford. Right. I was telling the previous class gave them an example. There is a movie. Not necessarily movie, a documentary, let me call it a documentary, of one guy, the Sultan of Brunei. I don't know whether you've watched that guy documentary. That guy is very wealthy. Brunei is a country, it's an island in Asia. This Sultan of Brunei, his name is Bukasa, right? This guy, when you watch the documentary, you see how people lavish money, right? That guy got collection of cars of 7,000 cars. 7,000. When we say collection of cars, it's not this type of cars you are seeing outside. Cars that you can $750,000, $600,000. You see, those are the cars we are talking about. That one of those cars, if they give you the price, if they give you one to sell, you sell one of those cars, your life is sorted. You see, imagine 750,000, $850,000 multiplied by 16. You got a calculator there. You multiply it to tell you how much is it in rand. $850,000 times 16. Yeah. Rand. That is for one car, if you are correct. One car. If they give you that type of money, you're gonna go crazy. Huh? That guy got 7,000. You know, the guy mansion where he stay, you know how many toilets? Guess. Over 700 toilets. I will show you the movie. Or I will write it for you. I send you a link. You go and watch it. 700 toilets. Yeah, I will do that after the lecture. Yeah, I'll put it in the group. Huh? Oh, you're not in the group, no problem. So you see what I'm saying? That type of person is occupying. There is one of I was watching it, one of the cars they've got. They say in the world they only made about 100 or something of those cars in the world. For example, if we are talking about this type of car, Toyota, you know how many they produce? A lot of this brand. But that type of car they were only 136. And he said, got hold of one. You see, those type of people, the type of product they buy, they don't look for product that you can see everywhere. Imagine that brand of car were 126 in the world globally, but instead bought one of it. You see the car. So that is what I'm trying to say, right? So that is how Maslow classified, which is true. Because people are of different level with different needs, right? Okay. Now, one thing that is very important that I want to explain needs, 17, page 17, needs, wants, and demand. Needs, wants, and demand. You see, when you look at these three concepts, it sounds a bit confusing, right? But you, as a marketer, as a business person, you need to understand these three concepts very well, right? How the interplay of these three concepts for you to be able to run a successful business. Or if you are a marketer, for you to be able to achieve your marketing goals, right? Needs. We are all living, I don't want to put it living, we are all working day in, day out to satisfy our needs. Do you understand what I mean? I'm standing here now to teach you so that I can be able to earn income to pay for my needs, my bill, to satisfy my needs. The same thing you yourself. You are sitting here now. You yawn even if you are yawn. Yeah, okay, you yawning now, right? You are hungry. You got needs for food. Do you understand? And you need to look for something, right? To satisfy, to quench that hunger, right? By looking for food to eat. Right. So that your needs now, that is what we call want. You want food now to satisfy your needs. Right? So if it depends on your pocket now, right? For example, as you are hungry now, you might like to eat burger, you might like to eat chips, right? You might like to eat whatever you want to eat, right? So that needs, right, being created by hunger, right? That is uh, shown, reflected in your the want. for food. That is what we refer to as want. Because now you need something now to satisfy. See what I'm trying to say? That want, look at it. Wants are therefore needs, right? That are expressed in a particular product, right? So now you want to eat something, right? That you want to eat something. So what you want to eat, once you express that your need in a particular product, that one becomes your want. I'm hungry. I want to eat burger. So your want now is the burger. Does it make sense to you? We got needs, we got wants, then we got demand, right? I'm hungry. Hunger have provoked that need, right? Yes. Now, how are you going to satisfy your needs, your hunger? You need to eat, right? Now, if you decide to say, I'm gonna eat bread, so that bread is your want because your need that is now expressed in the bread. So the bread now will be your want, your needs, which is hunger, right? The urge, let me put it this way, the urge to satisfy your hunger, right? When you say, I want to eat bread, so bread now will be your want. Does it make sense? Okay. So let's see what we are trying to say. We said when a person is thirsty, right? He or she will do something to get the fluid, right? That will take that test away. If this person is in Kalahari or whatever, right? The person needs to find all means to make sure that he drink water, right? If you are at the college, if you are thirsty, you will excuse yourself from the class to get a drink, right, of water. That your water, right, is the want, right? Then, if you are working and taking a lunch break, you will want to buy a cool drink. That cool drink is your want, right? To satisfy that need of that created by being thirsty, right? You need cool water, a cold drink, which is the one to satisfy your need, right? Then all human beings have needs, and all needs activity are aimed at satisfying them. You see now, realize this. All human beings have needs, and human activities are aimed at satisfying these needs. What do you need to satisfy the needs? It's the want. Want satisfy the needs, right? Then marketer cannot create human needs. You as a business person, as a marketer, you don't create a need. I cannot create hunger in you, right? The need for you to eat, right? I can only satisfy, right? Bring in things that you can eat. I can only advertise something for you or advertise something to you that you are hungry. Oh, you can eat chicken mayo, you can eat this, you can eat whatever. But that hunger is not me. I cannot create hunger in you. Right. You see, that is what I'm saying. That thing is, marketers can only influence needs. They said marketers can, however, influence the want for a product through advertisement. How does they influence want? Through advertisement, right? When they advertise, sometimes you see something on TV, you say, yeah, I like this stuff. They are trying to influence you. That is the only thing they can do, right? Okay. Then we said, read that case study. You read the case study. Yeah, read the case study. Something at home, Mhm. He has worked hard all day at the office and is feeling very thirsty. He cannot decide what he wants to drink to take away his thirst. He thinks about drinking a beer, but is aware of the fact that beer can be bad for his heart. Suddenly he sees an advertisement for a particular brand of beer that's, that has been approved by Hot Foundation of South Africa. This means
that he can drink this kind of beer without feeling that he's doing something that is bad for his heart. Here is the advertisement that Jacob saw. Jacob decided to buy a very light beer. This is an example of how that marketing turned a need thirst into a want. They look for a product with specific benefits, not foundation approval.
You see, so the need was this thirsty, right? He was thirsty. Then he had wanted to, he was looking for something to drink. Then he thought of drinking beer, right? Now he discovered that he later realized that, or he later realized that drinking beer could be harmful to his heart, right? Now he's thinking of what to drink. Then through marketing advertisement, he got a kind of awareness that besides that, there is a type of drink that you can drink, right? That is will not be detrimental to his heart. Then he can now decide to buy it. So you see now through marketing now, the marketing has been able to influence what he needs to use to satisfy his needs. That is what we are saying. That marketer cannot influence the need, but can influence your want. Your want is something that you need to be able to satisfy your needs. Does it make sense to you? Right. Then we said every person needs food, obviously, right? The last paragraph. We need food, we need clothing, shelter, and social interaction. But we want different things to satisfy this need. Right? The things that you need to satisfy needs are wants. Right? And those wants are expressed, often expressed in product or services. Then when we are hungry, we will eat a McDonald's burger or fish or curry or burgers, depending on our cultural upbringing, right? The kind of clothing we buy, pants, blouses, sarong, kaftan, whatever, right? Will depend on the marketing. Oh, no, no, no. Kaftan depend on our cultural and social upbringing. But we buy them, and where we buy them will depend on marketing. Because it's the marketing that creates the awareness in terms of where to get those stuff. Right? In that sense, they are influencing your demand. They are influencing your want. Do you understand what I mean? That is what we are saying. Then wants are therefore needs. Underline that, highlight it. Wants are therefore needs that are expressed in a particular product or brand. Right. Okay. Then look at how interesting it is. The other concept that we need to know again is demand. Right? Demand. Okay. So we said demand is a want, demand that window, right? Demand is a want that can be turned into a transaction. Demand is a one that can be turned into a transaction. Why? Because the person have got the ability to pay, got the money to pay. Right. You were thirsty or you thirsty, right? You want to drink Coke, right? That is your want. Your need expressed in a product of Coke, right? If you don't have the money to buy it, there is no demand. So when you got the money to buy it, and it can be transferred into a transaction whereby you go there, you say, okay, how much is this? How much is your coke? 10 rand. Okay, take the 10 rand, you take the coke. That is a demand. Needs, wants, and demand. You got the need, you are tasting. There's a need there. You want to drink coke. Coke, your need expressed in Coke is your want. I want Coke, right? Demand now, you got the ability to pay. You go there, you pay for it. So that means demand, right, is want that can be converted to transaction.
Product.
Hmm.
That's the amount of the product.
Mhm.
That's what economy is.
Okay. I know where you are going to, right? Okay. You know, in economics, right, we call it effective demand. A demand that is backed up with the ability to pay. Right. Okay, let us put it this way. I like what you are saying now. Let me explain to you. We are talking about demand and supply, right? When we are talking about that demand, it's not a mere demand. It's not a demand, a wish. A demand is not the same thing as wish, right? A product is being demanded when the people got the ability to pay. You see, for example, now, if we look at, let me give an example of a luxury car. Everybody wants to drive Mercedes Benz, right? Right. We cannot say there is a demand for Mercedes Benz in South Africa or a high demand for Mercedes Benz in South Africa based on the fact that people want to buy, they are interested in buying, but do they have the means to buy it? What is mostly important is the means. That is why the economist says a demand has to be effective based on the ability of the people that are demanding to pay for it. Right. Okay. Let me try to explain it in another form. Let's say you are selling food here, manguinya or chicken mayo at West Coast College, right? Of course, a lot of people are interested in eating chicken mayo, right? So when you come to sell, what you will be interested in, people that got the money to buy. Did you see what I mean? Right. Let's say on Monday you brought it, but out of the population, a lot of people here that are interested to buy, you only sold 10, right? Then on Tuesday, maybe 15, on Wednesday, 10, on Thursday, 15, right? If you want to work out your demand there, will you say there was a high demand or a low demand compared to the population here that are interested in buying? You're not gonna say it's a high demand because out of 1,000 students here that I like to eat chicken mayo, or let me say 500 or 100 people that are interested in eating chicken mayo, only 20 are buying. So what you're gonna base your demand on is only that few number because they've got the ability to pay, not people that doesn't have money to pay.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to say the ability to obtain the price
To pay.
or to pay.
Yeah, that is why they said demand is once that can be, look at it, that can be turned into a transaction, right? Why will you be able to turn it into transaction? Because there is that ability of whosoever that is demanding the product of goods to pay. If you don't have the ability to pay, it's like a mere wish. It's like a wish list. And you as a marketer, you don't count on wish list. You want the one that can be able to pay, to be able to buy. You see, a lot of people can be interested, but the question is, do you have the money to buy it? And I cannot be counting on how many people are interested. I'm counting on how many people that can be able to buy. Did you see? Because when you are giving your report, you're not going to give your report that hey, they are all interested or they got no money. You see what I mean? That is what we are trying to say here. I don't know whether you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. Then we say, okay, let's read this and see. Maybe this one will make it a bit clearer to you. People cannot always afford to buy what they want, right? No matter how much marketer try to convince you that their product is the best choice, and you may agree, right? You may agree. But if you do not have the money to buy it, you will not be able to own that product. Right. So marketers want their business to do well and therefore want customer to pay for their products. So services, marketers are more interested in people who want a product and are able, look at it, and are able to pay for it than in people who want a product but cannot pay. You see what I mean? If you want a product you cannot pay, we cannot constitute your want and classify it as a demand. It's not a demand because you got no money to pay. That is what we are trying to say, right? Does it make sense? So this is called demand. So demand is a want that can be turned into a transaction because someone has sufficient money to pay for the product. Right. For example, if you are a business owner, perhaps you ask your marketer, say, how, what can you say about the demand for the product? You are going to count on how many people can be able to afford.
Yes.
You see? Right. Then they say businesses that practice marketing will do a lot of work to ensure that they understand their customer. Those three basic concepts must be understood: needs, wants, and demand. Right. So I think we're gonna stop here. But do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are going to stop here. Then next time we are going to talk about exchange. Then from exchange, we go to value. From value, then we talk about the marketing mix. Right. Okay. So we're gonna stop here today.
Yes, sir.